Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and we actually got a pretty decent amount of news going on. Very odd, I should say. Definitely did not expect this to be on the agenda, but here we are, and we got something about the schedule regarding next season for the Grizzlies. So it was announced that in January of next season, the Grizzlies will play two games in Europe. The first time they ever play overseas, and it'll be against the Orlando Magic, which will be their chance to play Desmond Bane twice. Now, the only thing I find troubling with it, but before we get into that, I have it pulled up right here. The Grizzlies play the Orlando Magic twice in Europe, with the first game coming Thursday, January 15th in Germany, and the second one being played on Sunday, January 18th in London. That's England. And the only thing wrong with this is it means that the Grizzlies won't play their annual MLK Day game. That's the Martin Luther King Day game, where it's a celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King. Obviously, if you don't know, he was shot and killed in Memphis, Tennessee back in 1968 at the Lorraine Motel. So ever since 2003, I want to say the Grizzlies have been doing the MLK Day game. Now, this will be one of the years where they, oddly enough, won't do it, and I find that kind of weird almost because when you think MLK game, you think the Grizzlies, literally people, public figures of all sorts come to Memphis just for this game and this event. So to not have it and to do global games, it's very weird. I don't know necessarily how I feel about that. I also don't like the fact that Desmond Baines, essentially, his opportunity to play the Grizzlies in Memphis won't happen. It won't happen in Memphis. And I don't know exactly how the schedule is, but I would assume that the Grizzlies and the Magic play each other maybe two or three times, and this is already two of those times. So there's no telling where the other matchup is going to be. So very weird scheduling by the NBA right there. I think they personally dropped the ball with that because that's just very weird. Everybody knows that time period is reserved for the MLK Day game. So without it, it's definitely a little weird. But the Grizzlies playing in the global aspect, I would have never guessed. But hey, that's the John Morant impact for you right there. So yeah, I mean it'll be exciting to see. I guess the only thing is these games are probably going to be super early because overseas time is basically like day and night. So that's gonna be something that I have to get used to or have to remind myself. But other than that, I really got nothing to say when it comes to it except it's very weird. But I'm happy that the Grizzlies are getting the chance to play globally. Now, in other news, we talked about rankings, things of that nature, stuff like that. Well, ESPN recently put out their power rankings, ranking each team going into next year. And some notable things right here: the Grizzlies are ranked 15th in the power ranking. This is just after free agency moves and stuff. So Grizzlies ranked 15th, literally the middle of the pack. Obviously, number one being OKC, number two being the Houston Rockets, and oddly enough, they have the Dallas Mavericks ahead of the Grizzlies at 13. The Spurs at 16, and the Pelicans being lower at the bottom at 26. Um, my thoughts is the I'm sorry, I refuse to believe that the Mavericks are a better team than the Grizzlies in one all season. Especially, I get it. First overall pick, you have Cooper Flag. The hype is there. I understand it. You still got Anthony Davis, but you have to remember Kyrie Irving is coming off an ACL injury, so they won't even have him for a good majority of the season right there. So I find it kind of weird that ESPN is really giving the Mavericks a higher expectation than the Memphis Grizzlies, who made the playoffs last year. But it's ESPN. What can we say? The Rockets being number two, I gotta be honest, that's a little crazy. That's kind of wild. Now, if you wanted to say the Rockets are a top 10 team going into next year, I absolutely agree. But number two, number two is kind of crazy. I'm sorry. Number two is Very crazy to me. I don't know how I feel about that. That's pretty weird. Um, yeah, I really got nothing to say about that. Um, the Spurs, I think they're around the same level as the Grizzlies, but obviously I do think the Grizzlies are a little bit better. This is really just coming from the aspect that a lot of sources believe that the Grizzlies are going to be, like for some reason, a lot of sources still believe the Grizzlies are going to be rebuilding, and a lot of them only see them as a play-in team. So that's really why these rankings are the way that they are. Hopefully the idea behind it changes. But I mean, I really don't see how. Some of the teams that I just named off are ranked higher, but that's ESPN for you. If they don't have anything that appeals to them, they're probably going to rank you lower because they don't really pay attention to smaller market teams. So that's really it. Unless they're making a bunch of noise, the Grizzlies aren't going to get the respect that they more than likely deserve. Like you said, I get the skepticism. New coach, new system, new options. So I get it, but let's just be honest. Like let's relax here. But it is what it is. Now, if the Grizzlies want to exceed expectations, I think a guy that's really going to make some noise for them is Scotty Pippen Jr. And the reason I say that is because Scotty Pippen Jr. really proved himself towards the end of last year. He had some performances that caught me off guard. I mean, even in the playoffs in that first round series, Scotty Pippen Jr. having 30-point performances on 5+ threes definitely caught me off guard, but it showed me the potential that a guy like him has because Scottie Pippen Jr. is still developing. That's the scary thing. He's still developing, and the Grizzlies found a gem in him by giving him the opportunity to run the bench unit. And I feel like that has developed him even better as a player. I mean, obviously his playmaking is very good. The shooting is something that has caught me by surprise that I'm very glad to see he's getting more comfortable with. Um, his finishing is actually very underrated. I think that's what makes him very underrated as a player. He has a very good finishing ability, a very sneaky finishing ability that a lot of people don't really pay attention to as much. But he definitely has very good finishing for someone of his size and his length, his strength, and things of that nature. But I do think if the Grizzlies want to seek success out of their young guys, Scottie Pippen Jr. is the main one. Other than Santi Aldama, I got Scottie Pippen Jr. being the main young guy that shows out for the Grizzlies. Um, if we can get a world where he's averaging at least 13 to 15 points a game with 5 to 7 assists, I think you're asking a good amount of Scottie Pippen Jr. And I think he can develop into a person that we could see him in most improved player talks, even though the award is honestly flawed by decision. But I think if we see him in something like that, we definitely could see Scottie Pippen Jr. paying out to someone that could see himself potentially become a starter on somebody else's team. It's just a matter of the Grizzlies keeping him around. But I definitely do think next year we could see Scottie Pippen Jr. get a lot more touches and a lot more opportunity than we usually do. And that's something that Izalo kind of experimented with going in his time where he was promoted to head coach. And we're going to see it more down the line in the season, and I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it when it comes to him. Something I'm also here for, Ja Morant. Hey, look, we can have the face of the league talks all we want, but one thing about it, Ja Morant goes viral. We talked about the dunk. We talked about things about his China tour, and one thing about the China tour that um, really sticks out to me, and I saw this in the article, which kind of gave me the idea to talk about it. Ja Morant needs to essentially stay focused on what makes him happy. One thing about it, when Ja Morant has fun on the court, it translates to his game greatly. Ja Morant, when he's having fun, smiling, hitting his shots, playmaking, doing a little flashy here and there, it translates to the game. It gets the team ego going. Nobody feels behind. It brings the energy that the team needs, and I think that's something that will help him help. That's something that will help him help the Grizzlies put the league on notice because the Grizzlies are a team that is starting to reach. They used to reach overrated status to some people. I never thought the Grizzlies were overrated. I think they just didn't I think the front office just did not handle the young core as good as some other teams that we're currently seeing right now. But the Grizzlies are getting back to that point where they're really underrated. I mean, like I said in the last episode, 40 and a half over under win total for them going into next year. That makes them super underrated, and a lot of people are starting to realize that. So if you got that along with John Morant really working on his game, putting guys on notice, letting the league know like, hey, I'm still this guy that can take over games and average 30 against your favorite team. So I think as long as we're able to get John Morant back to that point, we're talking a different ball game, different Grizzlies team, different expectations, or at least in the national aspect. The expectations I have for the Grizzlies have always been there, but to the national media, they don't really see those kind of things. So that's something that we really just have to work out and see over time and have it develop. And like I said, I'm here for it. Absolutely here for it. Can't wait to see how it turns out. I'm really just excited for next season. And as you can see, it's a lot going on in this Grizzly season. So I'm here for it. It's a historic season at best. And hey, it'll be one to remember, good or bad. I'm here for it. It's just all I can say. But that's really all I got for this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, leave any thoughts that you have in the comment section. I'd love to hear them. Make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get updated and notified when we upload and post right here on Grizzlies Daily. And that's for this edition. My name is Malik, and I'll see you all in the next video.